when I got married in Eretz Yisrael and went to get brachos from different Rebbesins, I know for sure one, but I feel like multiple said the same thing to me. Erev Shabbos is just for salad, okay? In their Hebrew, whatever, that everything should be done beforehand, and then Erev Shabbos, all you should be doing is chopping vegetables, and you will see a lot of bracha. And I wasn't like that right away. Actually, I didn't know how to do anything. I didn't know how to cook. Erev Shabbos used to be very overwhelming. But then I had little kids. And Erev Shabbos, I didn't want them to hate Shabbos, right? And also, I had cleaning help then, and I didn't want to be in the house messing up this clean house. So I said, I'm going to take them out Erev Shabbos. So that meant that everything had to be done beforehand. And everybody used to make fun of me. We went ice skating. We went to Lake Farm Park. We went to the Children's Museum. Adina was my neighbor.
Yeah. What? You just coming home from where?
And I loved it. We would come home. We would take baths. I never gave baths Thursday night. That was an Erev Shabbos thing. But I was so much more relaxed. But this is embarrassing. My youngest is 14. And now I'm to the minute. And I've taken on Kabbalahs, and I have all over my house 5 minute Post-it notes reminding me, Nechama, just try to 5 minutes early. So when Sarah Faygie called me up to ask if I could just help moderate this, I was like, this is something that's been in my head for a while to try to get back into. And maybe this is Hashem talking to me. And so I am so thankful for
I'm Sarah Faygie. He's up there.
Oh, right. Yeah. No. But Hashem is talking to me through Sarah Faygie, just to, and I'm so excited to have this conversation. But first of all, this is so interesting that you're coming right by Parshas Pinchas, okay? Because Kanas is not just about standing up and taking a spear and yelling and doing a battle cry or something. It's also sweet. She is passionate about Shabbos, which is Makor HaBracha. So I could already say that her life must be very blessed, because Shabbos is the source of all blessing. But she is sharing the sweetness with others. I know somebody who had a basic of education or whatever, but struggles, and maybe surfacely they don't look religious, but knows a lot, right? And so she lives in an area, and she one day tells me, everybody's always trying to make care of me. She goes, they don't know that I went to Beis Yaakov and I know all this. She goes, why are they doing that? And I said, they're not doing that to make you feel guilty about anything. When somebody loves something, like Shabbos, they're trying to just share it with you. They're not trying to make you feel guilty. So that's what I feel like. This is not about guilt. Women here, you need to work harder. You need to do more. She's sharing a beauty. And thank you so much for coming. And also, you are literally on a road trip through all these. I think it said here South Africa, Australia. There are people involved in this. This is Bishlos Nashim Sidkaniyos, all you holy women, even just to come and hear about this. This is a huge thing. So a little bit about Sarah Faygie. So she is the founder and director, I love this name, the Gift of Chatzos. It's not just something we're doing, it's a gift to us. Right.
It's a gift that you give to yourself and to everyone around you. Absolutely.
And it's actually fascinating. It's a global nonprofit that educates, encourages, and support people in the concept of this Chatzos Shabbos. And the Gift of Chatzos gives educational content, tools, because that's sometimes what some of us need, is just tools. How do we make this happen? Community programs, and centered around this concept. So before this, she was the editor of a holistic magazine. She worked as a writer and columnist for years in Mishpacha magazines. We probably have come across her name before without realizing. And a director of marketing for Beth Jacob Atlanta for 10 years. So is that Rabbi Feldman?
Yes.
Okay, so we read his book.
Both Rabbi Feldmans.
The
Rabbi
older
Manuel,
right.
Rabbi Emeritus, and Rabbi Ilan is now.
So one of them wrote, the older one wrote an amazing book about his experience.
Tales out of Shul, yes.
Yes, amazing. So this started as her personal journey, and I can't wait to hear about it. And it's something that changed your life. Yes. And now she's hoping to change our lives. So this is so exciting.
Yes, thank you for having me. Thank you everyone for coming. I told Adina I don't go out at night, so this is, well, now I do. On the other side of the table, but thank you for coming. So what Nechama mentioned, that when I worked for Beth Jacob Atlanta, that's actually how this got started. But yes. I could dive in and talk, or I could wait for your questions.
No. So that's what I would love to hear about, how you started this journey for yourself, and then how it grew into a movement.
Right. Okay, so just before that, just because I'm a little bit logical in my thinking, I want to define what Chatzos is. Okay, so if you think about the word Chatzos, what's the shoresh? do
Chatzi.
Chatzi, right, half. So Chatzos literally means midpoint, and it's the halachic midpoint, either of the evening or of the day. Chatzos Shabbos refers to someone who's aiming to do a transition at Chatzos on Friday, whether you're at work or in the office. You're transitioning into more of a Shabbostic mode because at Chatzos on Friday, the Kedusha Shabbos starts to descend into the home. That's the whole source of Chatzos Shabbos, and I have not seen it inside because I do not study Kabbalah, but I've been told that this is in the Zohar, that Kedusha Shabbos starts trickling in at Chatzos. So that's why Chatzos is sort of like the mile marker, and what we're aiming to do is to treat that as transition time. You could still do malacha, you could still, cut up the salads. And by the way, in Israel, when they say just cut up salads, have you seen Okay. Right. So we're not starting huge things. We're not pulling out the food processor. We're not going shopping and thinking about what we're going to start making. Chatzos, chatzi, halachic midpoint. So the definition of Chatzos Shabbos is loose. It's not halacha. It's a minhag. It's an age-old concept that our ancestors followed. The stores closed at Chatzos on Friday. That was a thing. Everybody spent Friday afternoon getting ready for Shabbos. Things are different now. A lot of us work out of the home or we work in the home. We do so much more. Even though we don't have to get our chickens plucked, we don't have to get them shafted. There was a woman in Indianapolis in her 90s who shared with the Fireside Chat participants what getting ready for Shabbos was like for her, but she thought she had it easy because her mother had to go to the shochet, So we do have it easy nowadays, but we do so much more. So in order to achieve this goal, like Nechama, like you said, you want to be ready to light 5 minutes early. Wanting to do something does not mean you're going to succeed. You need a strategy. So that's what I teach. And a lot of you have these strategies, but one strategy is to do something for Shabbos every day of the week. And that's time management, but it's something so much more. It's also bringing the Kedusha of Shabbos into whole. Because Shabbos is the Makor HaBracha, when you do something for Shabbos, Motzei Shabbos, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, you're bringing more bracha into your home. And I can attest, I witness, it brings bracha. I don't talk details usually, but Be'ezus Hashem, I'm not a Rebbe, I'm not giving brachos, but if you look on the website, giftofchatzos.org, you'll see all the rabbinic endorsements. People who needed a Yeshua, people who were trying to have children, life-threatening situations, Rabbanim, Ashkenazi, Sephardic, Hasidish, Litvish, from all different times and all different circumstances said, work on this concept of Chatzos Shabbos if you need a Yeshua. So we defined Chatzos, we talked a drop about what Chatzos Shabbos means practically and why you should do it. How did I get started? So I was working at Beth Jacob Atlanta. I was a director of marketing, but it's a small staff, so I worked on programming. We were getting ready for the Shabbos project, somewhere around 2020. And there's the Havdalah concert and the Chalabik, and those are nice. They're more Kiruv oriented, unity and all that, like beautiful stuff. But I wanted something deeper that the Atlanta community could do, like to honor Shabbos. So I was searching the web and not finding anything until I found Azriela Jaffe's website. I don't remember what it was called, ChatzosShabbos.com or something like, And I was like, what is this? People get ready for Shabbos all week long? Oh, they're calm on Friday? I'm relatively organized, but for some reason, Friday afternoons were chaotic in my house. I could never figure it out. That was the norm, right? Is that the norm? Friday afternoons, if your fridge is gonna break down, it's gonna be Erev Shabbos. Something's gonna fry, electricity, it's gonna be Erev Shabbos. So I was taken with the concept, took it on in my own home, started teaching other people about it, but I was working full time. So it was a side gig, and my husband kept pushing me, do this for real. It's people need this. And Baruch Hashem, about a year ago, I started doing it full time. And at some point I was speaking to my mother and I mentioned this to her, and she works for Microsoft to this day. She's Baruch Hashem in her 70s. She's always worked full time for big tech companies. And she was super organized and baked on Wednesday or whatever, but we didn't have Chatzos Shabbos in our house. I didn't even know what it meant. So I was teaching my mother about it. I said, Mommy, I just discovered this amazing concept. So she says, yeah, I know about it. My mother was always ready by Chatzos. So this is my bubby, Esther Rachel, who died when she was 40. So she never met any of her kids or grandkids. I never met her. My mother was 18 when her mother passed away. But I just found out that my bubby did this. So when people ask me where your passion comes from, I don't know where my passion, I didn't know where my passion came from until I realized it was genetic.
Wow.
So that just strengthened it even more.
Well, that is such a special Shabila Eli Nishmas her this evening, but also her legacy is continued through you. That's so incredible. Rabbi Wallerstein always talks about our spiritual DNA as Jewish people. Like we have Avram Avinu and Yosef Avinu, but when we think about our parents, like why do certain things come easy to us, right? It's because
or why are we drawn to them?
Or why are we drawn to them?
Yes, it didn't come easy.
That's fascinating.
Nothing comes easy. Even trying to rent a car and drive 3 hours to Cleveland.
Well, we're so lucky that you're here. We're so lucky that you're here. So, what are some misconceptions maybe that some people have with this concept of Chatzos Shabbos?
Right. I mean, I can ask some of you what you believe, but I've heard from so many people. One Rebbitzin, not naming the city, down south, someone said, we need to have Faygie Berkowitz speak in our community. So she said, no, this is not for us, our women work. Number one misconception, if you work, you can't be ready by Chatzos. So it's really the opposite. If you work and you come home, if you work out of the house and you come home on Friday at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, whatever it is, you need this even more. Because do you want to come home to starting or to the middle of making Shabbos and just like right away go into that like chaotic mode, I need to get everything done? That's the first one. Second misconception is that you don't do anything after Chatzos. You're 100% ready for Shabbos and you just sit. Look, that's probably not so bad because that at its essence is what you're supposed to do. I don't know about Malki and her mom, but we are questionable. We're supposed to sit and anticipate Shabbos. So what does that look like? It's 2026. We don't sit and do nothing. We just don't. Second misconception that you don't do anything. You're cutting up salads, you're putting chicken that was marinated or salmon that was marinated or seasoned yesterday into the fridge to cook because your family likes fresh food. You're bathing kids, you're taking a walk, you're calling a parent, a grandparent, you're doing all kinds of things, you're doing malacha. The most important thing is you're transitioning. The Kedusha of Shabbos is coming in, the calm of Shabbos is coming in, and you're going with it. You're like getting into that calm mode, that mode of Shabbos queen. And she's a VIP. When you have a VIP coming to visit, you don't wait till last minute. That's just not how we do things.
So I think that what you just hit on about the chicken in the oven. So I'm Sephardi, and we love food oven to table, right? And
you
my
get
mother
3 minutes, otherwise it's old.
Right. My mother never froze anything. I'm trying to think what was in our freezer. Maybe frozen chickens that she would defrost, but like there wasn't ready-made food in the freezer. It's not something I grew up with. And not that we can't be different, but I'm saying there is something about, like, for me and my family, that hot chicken. So yes, that is something we do, and that still falls into that chatzos. So it's not like every single thing, can be. And who can be sitting when Kanai Nahara, like, even when you have children who are maybe even older, it's Erev Shabbos is busy, right? It's not saying, but it just changes the atmosphere when things are already emotion and not stress. I think that is something that we don't realize. We don't want to give over to our children that mitzvahs are stressful, and that mitzvahs are hard. There's tools. I can't wait for you to share some of the tools.
Yeah, so let me just make a comment on that. The way this whole, I'm going to say this whole thing started, because Azriela Jaffe is the person that gets credit for this. Adina, you're familiar with her. Nechama, you're familiar with her. I don't know if any of you've heard of Azriela. She revived the Chatzos Shabbos movement. She 100% gets the credit for every single thing that I'm doing. I had discovered her website, but the way Azriela was inspired was by her daughter. She woke her up on Friday morning, and she said, come on, hurry up, it's Friday, we have a lot to do. And she said, I hate Shabbos. And Azriela, like a good validating parent, said, no, you don't. Okay, and then she got over that and thought, why does my daughter hate Friday? Why does she hate Shabbos? She doesn't hate Shabbos, she hates Friday. Why does she hate Friday? Because I'm a ball of stress. And Azriela is a very organized person. She has authored 30 books. She has owned and led businesses. She's she's a professor of public speaking at Rutgers. She's a very geschickt woman. But her Fridays were chaos, and her daughter hated Shabbos.
Wow.
She hated Fridays, which were Erev Shabbos. That is not what we want.
So why do you see now, we have so many conveniences. We have Instacart, okay? Which is like life-changing. That was from COVID, right? But now if we forget something on Erev Shabbos, we do not need to go to the store.
Right.
Like for me, like that has been the main thing, because what happens when you go to the store? You bump into people, and that 5-minute thing could be an hour. Now you're further delayed, right? Like, but so we have so many conveniences. What are you still seeing? You go to so many cities. Like, what are people still struggling with?
Right. So why are we still, we're not failing, but why are we still scrambling when we have the KitchenAids and the rice makers and the cooked egg maker and the Instacarts and the cleaning help and we just have everything at our fingertips. This is the answer I used to give, and there's absolute truth to it, absolute MS, that when there is the potential for Kedusha, as great as the potential for Kedusha is, there's going to be a force resisting it. So, like this morning when so many things were starting to go wrong, I just said, wow, this is going to be a phenomenal trip. This is because there's so much friction. So that's part of it. Shabbos is a day when the curtain parts and we see Hashem. What is that? We don't even know. We don't even tap into it as much as we could. But there is huge potential for Kedusha. And the Yetzer Hara, the Satan, all those negative things, all those negative sparks, they don't like that. And they're going to fight it in every way that they can. But a couple Shabbos ago, I went to a friend's house. The answer didn't 100% sit right. It's a good answer, but it wasn't enough for me. I was at my friend's house and she had to put her daughter to sleep, so I was keeping myself busy, and I looked at, she had a pile of magazines. So the top one on the pile was Indian magazine from 2018. No idea why she had an 8-year-old magazine top of a pile, but the cover said the Gift of Shabbos, and I thought, oh, that resonates. And I opened it up, and the first article, there's like a couple intro type articles, editorial, is by Rabbi Ephraim Shapiro. Any of you know, from North Miami Beach? He's like a spokesperson for Chatzos Chaim Heritage Foundation, a huge Talmud Chacham. He mentioned in his article that I started reading just a few weeks ago that during Brias HaOlam on Friday, 10 things were created, lists of 10 things, but some say that Af HaMazikin were also created on Erev Shabbos. Af HaMazikin are little destructive sparks, and they try to get in and just make friction and get in between relationships, whether it's parent to child, sibling to sibling, husband to wife, whatever it is. And we need strategy to combat that. So Rabbi Shapiro talks about, how do we do that? So first of all, don't leave everything for Friday, because then you're gonna be stressed and everything else is just gonna lift that. So spread things out. He said, whatever you have left on Friday, make it into a game, turn on music, make it an enjoyable time, not a stressful time. So that was, just real extra clarity. To know that there are Af HaMazikin on Friday, you're gonna have to fight really hard.
So this, you could describe what transformed in your house, but can you share like stories about how other people, maybe like things that they shared, how things changed for them, or what does this Erev Shabbos look like now?
Right, okay, so in my own home, we have a little bit of a quieter home. We don't have like a huge bundle of children. Right now I'm an empty nester, but when I took this on, everybody was still at home. So what it looked like before was chaos, you can imagine, even though there's only 3 kids. Our son likes to cook, so he would make potato kugel on Friday afternoon and maybe other things. And our daughter would be in the kitchen, maybe making a late lunch. I'd be kind of like looking at one's shoulder, and like they're having a good time, but I'm looking at the clock, like, am I gonna be able to clean everything? How's this gonna go? So once I took on Chatzos, it was like totally silent. No more making potato kugel. He wasn't in the kitchen, so there's no music playing. And my daughter Devorah came to me and she said, I don't really like this. Oh boy. And I said, you know what? We need to figure out what Friday afternoon looks like, because I hear you. Like this, she loved the energy and the vibe. So to her it was a lot of fun. To my son it was probably a lot of fun. To me it was a little bit stressful. So keep playing music. Figure something special out that you could do on Friday afternoon. Some people take a walk. I know you said you took your kids to the zoo. We have mothers who do that, even if they don't leave their house. We had, like, these are some of the comments I get. One woman said, and this is from the Gift of Chatzos WhatsApp chat. It's just for women, and there are close to 400 women from around the world. That's where I haven't traveled around the world yet for Fireside Chats, but we have Zurich and a few different neighborhoods in England and South Africa and Australia, Toronto, different areas of Canada, everywhere in the US. I mean, Plano, Texas, and this new Shefa community in North Carolina, and like just all over, and a lot of different cities in Israel. It's beautiful hearing people's perspectives. I've talked about this woman so much, I'm not going to go into it, but there's a woman from Subotica, Serbia on our chat. Did you know there were from people in Subotica, Serbia? I didn't. I thought she was a spammer. I almost didn't let her in. Yes, but she's a beautiful woman, and she adds a lot to our chat. I think her husband's the president of the shul. There's maybe like 3 to 5 people in the shul, but Subotica, Serbia, she's like posting her Shabbos cable picture with a woman from Brooklyn, and they're like encouraging each other. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's so inspiring. Okay, so what are some stories? Just very simple. One woman said, my daughter, my 3-year-old's having a tantrum. She's having a full-blown tantrum, and I'm just sitting on the floor calmly with her, waiting it out. So what you're doing when you give yourself this gift is you're giving yourself oxygen. Whatever you're dealing with on Friday afternoon, it's going to be with just calm and with peace of mind. Another woman started putting up a sign in her kitchen that says what time Chatzos is, just a piece of construction paper. So her yeshiva bacher son came home from school, and he saw, oh wow, it's almost Chatzos, and someone who speaks Yiddish helped me with this, grabbed a broom, get the bezel or whatever it is. There was a young kollel man who went to his Rebbe, and he said, my house is so disorganized before Shabbos, my wife is such a mess, what do I do? And the Rebbe said, grab a broom. It's not your wife's problem, there's a lot to do, help out. Anyway, so this yeshiva bacher grabbed the broom, and the mother slapped the Chatzos sign on his back and took a picture, and it was just this cute, light moment, he's the Chatzos sweeper in the family. Just little moments like that are what it's about. Some people that are more in my stage of life, someone just posted that her son and daughter-in-law just had a baby, and she went to their house totally ready because she had doubled up the week before, which is another time management tool to double or triple up and put things in the freezer. Sorry, Sephardic families.
No, it's beautiful. It is beautiful.
So she went to her daughter-in-law's house with the new baby, and she and her husband, they literally sat on the couch. Maybe they schmoozed with the kids. She said they sat there for 2 hours waiting, anticipating Shabbos, and it was a completely new experience for her. Just super beautiful. So people see changes, and it's from very, very small steps that they take.
Wow.
There are some bigger stories. I don't think it's about that. I don't like to be sensationalist. There's a woman who had a baby who she calls her Chatzos baby. I mean, that's pretty big.
Huge.
Yeah, huge. Another woman who, a couple from Israel was at my house for a Shabbos meal. They were just visiting for a conference in Atlanta, and they had a stopover on the way back to Eretz Yisrael in London, and they would arrive back in Eretz Yisrael 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, but also Erev Shabbos. It was that 3-day yontif. So because I had introduced the concept of Chatzos Shabbos at the table, she asked me as they were leaving, what should we do? Should we not fly? I said, I'm not your Rav, but I asked the Shaila, and it's better not to arrive after Chatzos. If you need to travel on Friday, make sure to arrive before Chatzos. So do whatever you want to do. So she left, and 2 days later she texted me, okay, we're staying in London. We're staying in London for Shabbos and Shavuos. Can you set us up for meals? So I do something called the Shabbos Meal Shotgun in Atlanta. It's part of the Gift of Chatzos, and the reason I connected it is because the people who get meal invitations start to get a little anxious as the week goes on. And I encourage people to invite your guests earlier. I'm not talking about you and your friends getting together and doing a potluck Shabbos lunch. That's all, This is people who could use more of an invitation. So invite them earlier so they don't have that anxiety, and it's just, they could breathe. Anyway, so she knew that I did the Shabbos meal shotgun, but I only do it in Atlanta. I don't do it in England. So of course I said yes, and I reached out to my network, and 48 hours of complete silence. And I mean, picture a wheel. There were spokes in every direction. This chat with 2,000 people, and this family chat, and this, nothing. It was totally quiet, and it's Wednesday, and I said to her, Doraya, I gave everyone your number. I don't know what's going to happen. And worst comes to worst, she and her husband would eat, matzah and jarred gefilte fish in the hotel. I don't know. After Shavuos and Shabbos, she posted on our chat, and she's complete Israeli, so she actually texted me first, and I said, maybe use Google Translate, because it's not so understandable. So she did. She put it into Google Translate, and this is what she posted on our chat. My husband and I made the decision not to travel after Chatzos. Now, what I didn't mention is she wanted to get home to her kids. She had been away for a week, and she really missed her kids. Her husband wanted a little more time with his wife, a little, late honeymoon, whatever. They have 6 kids. So it was hard for her. So she said she made the decision to stay in London, By Friday, Erev Shabbos, Erev Shabbos, she had 12 invitations for 6 meals, and she said this was my double mun for Friday.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you make the decision and Hashem makes it happen. I think so many times we're like, how are we going to do this, right? And Hashem,
And
Hashem,
we don't know what it's going to look like.
right?
All you have to do, we never control the outcome. You just take a step. You don't know the outcome. You don't know what it's going to look like. This is like a surprise gift. You're going to take some steps and you don't know what the gift is going to look like. You know, this woman who had a baby, she wanted to take on a special mitzvah for her relative who was trying to have a baby. Literally 9 months later, exactly 9 months later, she had a baby. Her relative is still waiting, but you know, yeah. One other little story, because this is just so cute. There was a woman who had made a commitment. That's like one of the steps you can take. She's not going shopping on Friday afternoon. Doesn't matter if she runs out of organic grape juice. Doesn't matter what happens. She is not going shopping. She'll do without. And her family is very big into salad, and she realized they didn't have any salad vegetables. Oh, I really want to go. Everything else is done. It's fine. No, this is the commitment I made. So, okay, we'll go without salad. Friday night, they're sitting at the table, and there's a knock at the door, and her neighbor is there. She said, we have an extra salad. Can you use it? What?
That is so incredible. You know, that
A
reminds
salad, a baby.
Wow. Many of you know the Klatsko family from Cleveland.
Yes.
Okay, and they have children whose impact is felt all over the world. And so I'm the same age as Rivka Malta, and I used to spend a lot of time, you know, at their house or whatever. Over the years, they had the best sleepovers and everything. And there was a sign on the fridge, and this goes back, I'm 48, so 41 years ago, maybe, like when our first sleepovers, and I remember always seeing the sign, and it said like the rules of their house. Thursday night, you were not allowed to accept babysitting jobs. Okay, they have a lot of daughters. And on Friday, we don't go to the store. And they had a list of things that we in our house don't do.
Wow.
On Erev Shabbos and things. And this was
I did
so,
not know that.
you know, sometimes it's not a movement, it's just what they themselves internalize, and who knows, their children, you know, like, we can't say enough about what Shabbos does, you know, like, if you look at the Zmiros and you just see certain lines that are there, but like Hashem is saying, it's Shabbos is me'in olam haba, and you know what we say in our harachmans, you know how sometimes we say something and we don't even realize what we say. So harachman huyan chilenu yom shekulo Shabbos, that extra thing, what is it saying? That what is Mashiach going to be like? And then just picture this for a second. What's Mashiach going to be like? Every day is going to be a Shabbos. Do you feel different on Shabbos? Your house looks different on Shabbos. You feel different on Shabbos, right? There is a certain thing, even when it's chaotic, even when it's hectic, but there is a certain feeling. Maybe it's our extra neshama or something like that. So if we can add to this, like you said, it's a Kabbalistic thing that something happens, you know, and I remember
Erev Shabbos, right?
and Erev Shabbos. So Rabbi Bragg once said he had a Shabbos series, and he spoke about Erev Shabbos, and he said something that very interesting. And I think this is around the time that I started to do Chatzos. You know, Mashiach should come sooner. We shouldn't think Ad Me'ah Ve'esrim Shana. But he said that a person's neshama is let out, if they had to experience Gehenim, is let out for Shabbos, because Shabbos there is no Gehenim, from when they started to take in Shabbos.
I can't believe you're saying that, because a few nights ago in Detroit, it was my sister who interviewed me, and she actually said that jokingly. She said, wait, does this mean that the people who get out for Shabbos, they can get out of it? So she was like,
yes.
She thought she was making
No,
it.
it's a real thing.
Rabbi Bragg said
Rabbi Bragg said this, and he said, so if you are that type of person, then you get out so much earlier. You know, so look at. I mean, whatever.
Okay.
We shouldn't even think about that. But look at like what Hashem is telling us, because it really is a zuchus. It really is a zuchus, because that meant the whole week you were working on. So this is, if I could share, what my problem is that if I would start preparing, I'm just being very honest. If I would start preparing for Shabbos on Monday, I would be resentful. We are good friends. Literally on Sunday, she's doing everything and amazing, but it stresses me out just coming to her house while she's shopping her thing for Friday night or whatever. Like, that doesn't work for me. So what I did when I was a Chatzos person, I'm gonna laugh, I go to sleep very early. I woke up at 3 a.m. So I created a day for myself, but that worked for me. That was much easier. The kids were not around. I don't get any phone calls. I don't get any distraction. I listen to music. I listen to a share or something like that. Everything goes, except Instacart is not open at 3 o'clock in the morning, so that wouldn't have worked if I forgot something. But that's how it worked for me. But for me to think about planning it on Monday, that would like stress me out. So can you share how other people do it? Because maybe the dividing doesn't work for everybody, or maybe like if you can share some what people have shared.
And what you don't want to do, so that worked for you, but for other people, waking up at 3 a.m. is torture. That would be this person right here. I don't like 3 a.m.
Right,
I don't want to see it on my
own.
clock.
Everybody has their own.
Their own, where they don't cross that line. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to take, let's say your Shabbos takes 6 hours to prepare. You don't want to just move it to like Thursday night from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. No.
Right.
So there's a few things that you want to do. If you can handle it, yes, the idea is to do something for Shabbos every day. It doesn't need to be something as involved as chopping vegetables. It could be going on Instacart or now Amazon or Walmart Plus or Kroger Boost, whatever your thing is, and ordering something for Shabbos. Like saying, you know what, I'm not going to bake this week because it's a super busy week. We're going to have Breyer's oat ice cream with crunchy toppings and drizzled, like a really, really special dessert, but I'm ordering it, so like adding it to your shopping list. Something as practical as that, but something every day of the week. And again, it's not just for time management, it's for bringing Kedusha into that day. Maybe that helps with that resistance to doing something on Monday. I'm bringing the Makor HaBracha into Monday. How cool is that?
That's beautiful.
So spreading out your tasks, the time management. That's the first thing. Another trick that we implement is habit stacking. So we all have our way of doing Shabbos, and we could like do it by rote. So to change things is difficult. Habit stacking means that you take something you know you do already. Sunday, I always X. Before I go to sleep, I always X. My first habit stacking thing was, we always say Havdalah. That is like a for sure thing that happens. So immediately after Havdalah, my husband's still like cleaning off the wick or whatever, I'm setting up the candles for next week. So sticking a habit to another habit is a second tool that you could use. The third thing is when you have an overwhelming list and it's getting later in the week, to use the 4D approach. Some people refer to it as the Covey matrix. Has anyone heard of that? Stephen Covey, anyone heard of him?
Yes.
So it's the Stephen Covey matrix, and I think it originated from Eisenhower, but Stephen Covey did it a little different. But you apply the 4Ds to your to-do list. Okay, so you're overwhelmed, you're not a list person, make a list. Just put it all down on paper and look at each item, and it's assigned a D. Do. There's nothing to negotiate, this has to happen. Defer, it could be pushed off. It does need to happen, but it does not need to happen right now this week before Shabbos. Delegate. Someone else can do it. And if you don't have a victim nearby who you can throw it at, it could be something like, instead of making gefilte fish, I'm gonna buy it, or cake, or whatever. And then the last one is delete. You know what, this would be nice. It really would be nice. I wanted to do it, but it's not happening. So do, delegate, defer, delete. That's another time management tool that
I think what you were saying also something that somebody once gave me advice. And sometimes, I think 75% of the time I listen, but sometimes I don't, and then I regret that I didn't listen. You know how Erev Shabbos, maybe you're having company, maybe just for your family, you decide last minute to make something extra. Right at that Erev Shabbos time. And yes, it will hand Shabbos, but that extra thing that you may be making, let's say you think it's gonna take 45 minutes, somehow takes an hour and a half, sometimes causes stress, sometimes causes this. And even though it's so tempting, you think it's honoring Shabbos. I remember somebody telling me it's more honor to Shabbos to not. So sometimes the voice comes to me, Nechama make, and then I don't, and sometimes when I listen, I don't listen, then I regret.
Right, I still struggle
so I like
with that.
Delete. Yeah.
It's just being very honest and very vulnerable like you were. I still struggle with that because I very much enjoy cooking and baking, and I have this like little tiny bubby inside. I am a real bubby now. I'm an Oma. But there's still a little tiny bubby in me, like the real kind, with like the white curly hair and the cane. And she likes feeding people. So I always want to make more food. So my first commitment was no adding something on Friday afternoon. And that was so hard for me. And sometimes I still struggle. I look around, I'm like, everything's clean, everything's good. It's okay, I can do it. And weirdly, it doesn't come out so good, whatever it is. It just has the taste of, I broke my commitment.
So true. So true.
That's the flavor.
Do you have a
Can I suggest something?
Yeah.
Later. So my daughter loves to bake Erev Shabbos, and my stress level goes up really high. The only thing I let are those like David's cookies, the ones that are already pre-done, and they're like 5 minutes and they come out fresh. I love it. Like you have the smell of fresh cookies, or you bake something, but it's 11 minutes and there are no pots involved. You just the pan and put it in the oven.
Right. And there's parchment paper, you don't even have to clean it. Yeah.
Right, we had a very funny Erev Shabbos this week. I thought everything was organized or whatever, and we said, your daughter was thinking, our bunny ran away.
What?
And yeah, our daughter's in sleepaway camp. We are caretaking this bunny. If I tell you the panic, the panic, we had all the neighbors involved. We weren't going to tell you, so you wouldn't tell her. But
there's a lot of people in this room.
We were laughing that it was
snitches.
Erev Shabbos. And so
course,
like my
of
nephew came
course.
to pick up challah, and I meant to give him the baked goods, whatever, that we made on the fast day. But we were only thinking bunny. So here, take the challah, go. And Baruch Hashem, we found it, but that Satjan does whatever. And we've had so many times at candle lighting. One time, my son, you know the staircase kind of, okay, so Connie has like these oval ones, so we had straight ones. My son got his head stuck in between the thing, and it was right by candle lighting. Hashem, like I was so organized. Now it's a panic. What are we doing? How are we doing this, right? So we like being a little relaxed or Shabbos with like the other stuff being taken care of. We've had to go emergency rooms, like candle lighting, right? Like, so whatever we could do to make that day holy.
Right, so here's the thing. When you take this on, don't expect that life is going to be completely calm and good from that point on. You're going to have these heads stuck in the whatever those are called tests. But how are you going to respond to them? You know, like how much is pulling you? Oh my gosh, I can't go to the ER now. We don't have Shabbos made yet. You know, or like, okay, I got this.
So, I'm sure some people are thinking here in this room, or maybe, you know, or people who you talk to, this sounds so beautiful, but this can't be me. I'm here to support everybody else, but like,
Nice
what would you
concept,
tell them? Or
but
people who said that they never would do it, surprise themselves that they could do it.
my sister, the one who interviewed me, and it's okay, she said this publicly. She texted me a few weeks ago, Sir Faygie, can I do a reverse Chatzos? Everything after Chatzos? Sure, Hannah, whatever floats your boat.
Right. Well, I used to be like that, and sometimes I am like, I'm embarrassed to say this, I am like that now.
Okay, but
Yeah.
then
And
she
it could
adds,
be very calm. I'm just saying, it could be busy and very,
and it could be calm.
I'm saying, and enjoyable.
Yes.
It's still not ideal, I know, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes you don't have that push of like, it's crazy, I'm stressed out, my kids are floating.
Right.
No, it's actually,
It
it's
works.
nice.
Well, I heard from a bunch of people, like I had a focus group when I first started, and I made sure it was all New Yorkers who intimidated me. Are any New Yorkers or any of you intimidated by New Yorkers? One of them said to me, you know, this all sounds great, but I have a system that works for me. It's not chaos. It's all extremely calm. Why should I do this? So I said, okay, fine, I hear. I was like shaking a little bit, but I explained my pitch, and she said, you know what? I want this. What spoke to her? Could be it was the bracha that comes into the day of that she wanted that, but something. She said, you know what? And like you said, it's not ideal. So my sister Hannah has a happening house. Can I know her? She has more children. It's not that. She does more. I don't know how. She's a Hatzalah volunteer, and she's a chesed person, and she's a this, and then she's that. And when I come into her house on Friday afternoons, I love the vibe. It smells good, it looks good, it tastes good. Everyone's having fun, but that's not how we greet Shabbos. So, and this is not a judgment. This is just, we're here to be truthful and to say what is the ideal way to come into Shabbos. A little more done. You could still have the hot potato kugel on the counter. You could still have the cookies. You could still have the music playing. You know? So, what was your question? What the question was?
I don't remember the question,
resistance?
but what you just said, I think, really spoke to me, because what you said is kind of what my house is. It's not stressful. It's just
Right.
like we do everything on Friday.
So what's
I do
the
everything
problem?
on Friday.
Right.
I
What-
want to, for years I've been wanting to. I'm dying to be ready for Chatzos, and I can't, you know what I'm
But
saying?
Why?
it's for the
Wait,
right.
I want to hear why.
Because I think that it's first of all, it's honoring Shabbos. You know what I'm saying? It's the greatest thing that I could give my children to show them, you know what I mean, that I'm not, I don't know, you know, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful way of greeting the Shabbos and showing that what the mitzvahs of Hashem are beloved to me.
That
That
we
wasn't
anticipated.
Was that the question though? No,
Well,
it
the
wasn't.
question was more like,
Right.
someone might say, this is a beautiful idea, but it's not for me. So part of the answer is, if you were to convince them or to give them some more selling points, what would those look like? Why, if you have a calm system, why should you change things? So these are some of the reasons why someone will maybe change what they're doing. So I want to tell you one other thing that I saw that was so inspirational, really right at this, a few things happened right when I had discovered this mitzvah, Chatzos Shabbos. So I was writing for Mishpacha at the time. I still write for them, but like it's always been a side gig. Right after I took this on, Hani Nyman called me and she said, we have a new column we want you to do. It's called A Taste of Shabbos. and you're going to interview Rebbitzins
Oh,
or
that was
daughters of Rebbitzins and ask them how they made Shabbos. So we're going to give you like their phone numbers and they're going to want to talk to you. And I was like, are you kidding? I would pay you for that. I didn't tell her that because that's stupid. Let them send me a check. The brachos that I got from these Rebbitzins were like,
Wow.
oh my gosh. And I felt like that was Hashem saying, I'm taking care of you. You're doing a good thing. Here's a little kiss. Here's a little hug. And then the second thing was so powerful. A high school in Atlanta called Tamima. Have any of you heard of it? Excellent, excellent high school. Small, of course. Atlanta's not a large place. So they put on a play every other year. And one year I went to the play and it was all about Shabbos. It was called THIS, Thank Hashem It's Shabbos, something like that. And every scene, every act was something about Shabbos. One of them was an old school, like a shtetl chasana scene. So you saw the chuppah and you saw a beautiful kala. It was a rabbi, the townspeople, all the little kids. You know, it was like a really sweet scene, but something was missing. And the scene opens and you take it all in and nothing happened. Nobody moved, nobody spoke. And they let the audience sit there for like a good 3-4 minutes. It was very silent and very awkward. And all of a sudden, from stage left, the chassan runs on. His shirt is untucked, his tie is not tied, his hat is crooked, and he says, I'm here. Tucks in his shirt. Let's get married. That's
a
we call
beautiful
it the
analogy.
Shabbos. And I don't like plays. I don't have the patience for them. I'm sorry. The girls are beautiful and their voices are beautiful. But I went, oh my gosh, that is so powerful.
That is a very powerful scene. That is very powerful. Thank you for sharing that. No, because that's, you need to put those images in your head. What are we telling Hashem, you know?
Right.
Okay, so let's say some of us are considering starting in some way.
Let's say, aren't you all completely on board?
What would be
What
the
is this?
smallest first
I drove 3
step?
hours down here in the pouring rain.
What's the first step?
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're
yes.
welcome. It stopped raining halfway through. The smallest first step. So I would say take one thing, like whatever your start is of Shabbos, that might be making a menu or making a shopping list, and move it one day earlier. It's a big deal, but it's one small step. Another small step is setting the table Thursday night, if you don't already do that. Super powerful visual, and a lot of Rabbanim say it's like a very lofty thing to do. You set your table Thursday night, even if you're not a Chatzos yet, and even if there's so much left to do, it sends a message to everyone who walks into your house. We are ready for this VIP. We're we mean business. Another small step is a commitment, like the one I made, and I'm still working on. Nothing is added on Friday afternoon. Most of the times I succeed. Baruch Hashem, pep. So commitment is good. Taking an accountability partner is a small step. So you decide what your little step is going to be and tell your friend. Maybe one that you're a little intimidated by, please. Get your New Yorker friend. So there's those are some ideas of first steps that you could
That's
take.
a beautiful. So you know what? After this, I'm gonna reach out to someone. Someone had posted on their status last year, and they did have a source to bring bracha that you should put a tablecloth on your table, even if your table's not set before Shabbos.
Mhm.
But the tablecloth
Right.
should be on by Chatzos. And I started to do it, and I actually saw more bracha come into my life at that time.
Beautiful.
And it was something that, like, a tablecloth. And so I have an alarm on my phone on Fridays, tablecloth. Because I have a very, very small kitchen, I need my dining room table. So I can't set it. Sometimes I figure out I'll set the table and then I'll cover it with a plastic
Because it's
tablecloth
not
and
just a
work on the other
tablecloth,
thing.
it's all the stuff that's on it.
Right, so
All the
sometimes
things that are
sometimes I can, sometimes I can't, but the tablecloth I try to get on before Chatzos, and you have the source. So I'm gonna try to
please
get
share
it,
that.
and maybe
Yeah.
we could share it.
So
Just
one
feels
thing to
far
do
hard.
is, even with Shabbos, and if you don't know your strategy automatically from tonight, is to watch yourself. Like, notice what happens. Like, pay attention to what's happening in those few hours before candlelighting, or pay attention to what's happening in the few hours before this yantif that you're describing, or in the few days. Just watch yourself. Be that like person hovering above yourself, and notice. Notice the curveballs that come in. Notice the things that you're doing. Because even when you're almost completely ready for Shabbos, there's so much to do. Like, what are these little things, you know?
Do not feel because Erev Shabbos, that's a Yom Tov, you're still not going to do an extra load of laundry. You're not going to make an extra package of cookies. You're not going to have to set up the fridge, the lights and everything. That's already done. So all those sort of like last minute things on Friday, or the thing that you're going to do extra, you're not doing. So
Right.
it
You're
does feel like a Yom Tov that's Erev Shabbos is a lot more calm.
And one thing that I I'll try to tame myself a little bit about this, but some of us are just doing too much. You could do deferred delegate to your heart's content and it's not gonna help. Some people overdo it for Shabbos. So if you have all the time in the world and all the resources and all the cleaning help and everything like that and you enjoy it, great, more power to you. But the rest of us sometimes need to just scale it back a little bit. The standards in the frum world for food, you go to people's houses and there's 4 or 5 chicken and meat dishes and there's 11 dips, okay, not really, but like, you know, tons of dips and tons of sides, and dessert is not just one angel food cake anymore. It's a whole buffet of desserts. So then when you go to a chasna, what are they gonna do? You know, and then when you go to a fancy dinner, what are they gonna do? And we're going through the roof. It's crazy that the standards are out of control. So I say, even to those of you who have the time and enjoy the cooking and baking, you know what? Do the rest of the world a favor and just lower it a little bit. Do less and be more. I promise you I struggle with that mightily. So I can say it, I'm talking to myself. So yes, that's a big thing. I was interviewed by Razy Fried about 1.5 years ago, and she's Hasidish, and she's, right, you know who Razy Fried is? I mean, Hasidish and Martha Stewart. So things are beautiful. Things are beautiful, and they're fancy, and they're gourmet, and they're just right, and there's a little bow and a note. So when I was going on my high horse about that, she's just listening. And I'm thinking of this one Chatzos in Atlanta who told me, Friday night I serve sushi. And I was like, really? Oh, awesome. That's awesome. Your family looks forward to their Friday nights. It's like, that's her. I am letting things go. She works really, really hard. She didn't grow up with Shabbos. She finds it overwhelming. That's her beautiful Friday night meal. Okay, whatever. It's gonna look different for everyone, but let's lower the standards a little bit. So that's another, not just a time management tool, but like, even if it's not a time thing for you, just bring it back. Think of those Rebbitzins. Every single Rebbitzin I interviewed for Shabbos, they made the exact same thing every Shabbos. And you know what the food was. It was a karakukkel, and it was baked chicken, and it was compote, and their daughters raved about it. They would give anything to taste that food again.
And I think that is a really big point. My mother used to make the same Shabbos food every single week. And me and my sisters laugh. We're always looking for new recipes, or we're always like constantly, why are we doing that? Because there was Shabbos chicken, and there was Lakshan kugel, and that and it tasted delicious, and we went crazy for it. And but we have added a lot of complexities to our life.
We can't help
And
it. It's the world that we live in.
It's the world that we live
There's
in.
so much color and so much flavor and so many gourmet ingredients that we want. And we don't want, because we're from and because we're kosher, to be limited. We have everything kosher. We have, so we want to experience it all. We want to taste it all. And it's okay.
And sometimes my kids will why did you make this new chicken? Why didn't you make it? And they usually make it. Here I was doing it because wanting to make it more special, or wanting to make something, right? But the truth of the matter is, and from a nutritional standpoint also, somebody pointed out, our appetizer is really what our meals are during the week, right? So even just from a different
a salad
standpoint,
with a piece of salmon on it, or some chicken strips, yeah, and you had a piece of challah,
right? And that's just
and
that's just the starter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to keep on going on, etc. So you could still have a beautiful Shabbos, but not need 4 chickens, and not need, and if you think about it, gourmet actually is what if you see Martha Stewart or something.
Small.
But it's the main with very skillfully crafted vegetable side dish, whatever. It's not 20, right? And so that's just something.
Oh, and you could garnish for Shabbos. So I send out weekly emails, and some of the tips in there are: stick to baked chicken, pour a jar of duck sauce over it if you're in a rush. It's beautiful, it's delicious. And then put a little spread of parsley, or you're making salmon, put a slice of lemon and twist it. Learn these little tricks, and that's where you say this is Lakavit Shabbos. Because sometimes during the week you eat chicken, and sometimes during the week you eat salmon. You do want Shabbos food to look more enticing and look more special.
Right.
So there's ways to achieve that.
So if you could just summarize, what is the gift of Shabbos, of Chatzos?
I was actually in an Apple store once, and these 2 young guys, 2 young tech geniuses, were helping me, and it came up that I had a nonprofit. So they said, "Oh, what's your nonprofit about?" I feed starving kids in Africa. I hesitated for a good minute, and then I said something. Whatever I said, their eyes lit up, and they were like, wow. I don't know what I said. It was something like, we observe the Sabbath, and just like people plan a long time for Thanksgiving meals, we plan a lot for our meals. So I teach people how to do it in a way that they enjoy it, and they're calm, and they feel the spirituality, something like that. But if I would summarize Chatzos Shabbos, I would say it's about, you know, a minute ago I said, do less and be more. It's about Kavana. And bringing it back. You're welcome. I'll take a little check. It's about intention. What is my intention in preparing for Shabbos? What is my intention with baking, because I don't like baking? What's my intention with doing something on Monday, because I don't? So it's about intention.
Huge. That is huge. And okay, because Kavana is my favorite thing. So there's a great book by Sarah Chaved Rigler, 8 Seconds to Connect. Highly recommend. It's amazing. And so how she describes what Kavana is brought down. She had a source for this. And they said, you're doing the mitzvahs anyway. That's silver. That's beautiful. Silver is gorgeous, right? But when you do it with Kavana, it turns into gold. So that's really what taking that is. And you know, that song we grew up with, I used to think my mother was the Shabbos queen, you know? And I think that when we do things for Shabbos, like that changes the Shabbos for our kids, and that's what they remember. Like that would be the ultimate compliment for me if my kids looked at me as the Shabbos queen. And actually, my mother was Nataras on Erev Shabbos, so I mean on Thursday her Levaya was Friday morning. And the one comfort that I had coming home from the Levaya was she's doing her job. She's the Shabbos queen. I felt it. I felt it because Shabbos in our house was tangibly different. And so like I almost pictured her like being like taken to Shemaim, and now she's like the Shabbos queen there, and that's kind of how I picture her.
The website has a place where you can sign up for emails if you want to join the WhatsApp chat. And let me tell you, the WhatsApp chat is meant to be small. I never meant for it to grow big. I thought people would come on, see the reminders, get the inspiration, and go continue working on their own. But people, for some reason, are sticking around. So please feel completely comfortable to join the WhatsApp chat and leave after a few weeks. It's not an insult. It's not saying this is not for me. It's saying, oh, cool, I get it. And then you take it to go. You know, I'll have that wrap, thanks.
I think that's amazing. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So we have a website with a whole bunch of resources. The rabbinic sources that I mentioned, you can read all those on the website. You can meet some chatzosers, you know, like hear little stories. There's a How Do I Start page. There's the page from Azriela Jaffe, actually, still connects back to her old website. There's recipes, of course, menu ideas, tips. Yeah. So weekly emails, WhatsApp chat, get yourself an accountability partner, make a commitment, take one of these steps. And really, this is a beautiful time to start. The 3 weeks we're mourning the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash, and we're told, I think it's Talmud Yerushalmi, that if all Jews would keep Shabbos, the Geula would come. So right now, we're mourning the Beis HaMikdash, and we keep Shabbos already. So what else can we do? We can keep Shabbos more. We keep Shabbos better. And that's going to help bring the Geula, I believe.
This is so beautiful.
Yes, Yasher Koch.
Lo and Lenu, we can't say why October 7th happened at all, but one of the things that was the year of October 7th that people were talking about, the Rosh Hashanah before October 7th, is like, that we don't have the shofar on Shabbos. But that's the way Hashem made the world. Hashem made it that Rosh Hashanah comes out this way, and that it's still Rosh Hashanah without the shofar and whatever. So if you have Shabbos as a zechus for you, then that year will be a great year. And he said that, you know, you can't go and make a Kabbalah Erev Rosh Hashanah about Shabbos. That this Rosh Hashanah that's coming up, and actually the next two Rosh Hashanahs coming up is Shabbos is one of the days of Rosh Hashanah. He says it's not enough to Hashem that you said, okay, Hashem, I'm going to be really careful with Shabbos this year. He said this last Rosh Hashanah. Thank you for reminding me. He said this last Rosh Hashanah. He said, you need to start today. saying, Hashem, I am going to be more careful for Shabbos. For the next 2 years, this is your zechus. And I know people who had different stories about how they took something on for Shabbos and they got married that year, or things like that. That Shabbos, I think Representative Barkin said that, should be standing for you and representing you to Hashem. And so so this is such a beautiful time that we're coming, because you close your eyes, it's like the 3 weeks, and then it's Rosh Hashanah very soon afterwards. And Rosh Hashanah comes out very early this year, so let this be a zechus for us.
Right.
In some way, even if, I think that's the nakuda, even if we're not there all the way, to do these things to where we can start. I think that's, but let's hope, let's aim high, let's try, but it's not about a guilt. It's not about guilt.
Right.
But everything that we're doing.
Jaffe has a great talk on this, and she actually says, don't say you're going to try. When you want to do something, you do it. It's not up to you whether you're going to succeed, but don't try. That's not a thing. Wording. Anyway, this talk by Israel is fantastic, and if anyone wants it, just, WhatsApp me or info@Gift of Chatzos. Sarliza Scheinberg spoke just, what day is today? Sunday? She just spoke yesterday. Anyone know Sarliza Scheinberg? She's a beautiful mechaneches, and her family is moving to Philadelphia. They've been in Detroit for decades. So she gave just this emotional and heartfelt talk. The room was packed. This poor hostess had to bring in couches from other rooms. I was sitting on the steps.
Wow.
But one of the things she said is, she gave a mashal of these two generals who the king imprisoned because they were accused of rebelling or doing something against the king. And he wouldn't let anyone intercede on their behalf except for their wives. The wives got to have an audience with the king. The first wife came, and she was dressed beautifully, and she appeared like a mensch. And the king looked at her and he said, you know what? Your husband is taking good care of you. He must be a good man. Whatever he did to me was a mistake. I'm going to let him out of prison. And then the second wife came in, and she was like beaten down and exhausted, and she said, please let my husband out, And he looked at her and he said, does your husband take care of you? And she just sort of shrugged, So the nimshal, what Sarliza said, is that Shabbos is that wife. Like, what does our Shabbos look like? However you build and paint your Shabbos, Shabbos is then gonna stand up and testify for you. It's gonna be your, when you stand before the Kisei HaKavod, when you stand before judge, Shabbos is gonna step up and say, look how this woman took care of me. Look how beautiful I am. She sat for 2 hours and anticipated me. She started Motzei Shabbos. She did something Monday, even though it was such a busy day and she was so tired. She stayed up for 5 more minutes to order the Breyer's ice cream, whatever,
Beautiful.
So yeah, she just said that, and I'm like, oh wow, this is so great.
So I guess my question is, how do you get the other people involved? And I can't make other people want it like I do, so
you just, your only job is to make your own commitments and to stay with them, sit with them, enjoy them, be present in them, whatever those buzzwords are, for real. This is, you could sit down with your family, whoever's still at home, and say, this is a decision I'm making and here's why. I'm not putting it on you. If you want to be a part of it, great. But you could, it's your home. You could have some hard and fast rules. You can have the Klatsko sign on your fridge. I'm just saying, you could borrow it. I think she's done.
I should ask her. I bet she still has it up. I could totally see that she still has it up.
Oh, right. So you can't change other people. There are some husbands, believe it or not, who, whatever. For the most part, they're like, wow, this is phenomenal. Like one of them said to his wife, so many WhatsApp groups, but don't get rid of Gift of Chatzos. That's a good one. You really can't. You can't change people, but you're going to have an impact. That daughter who said, I kind of miss the old way. I didn't really figure things out. She was, 17, 18. She's 24 now and she's married. And a few months ago, I knew she was quietly on the chat, didn't say a word. I wasn't going to out her. This is my daughter, everybody. A few months ago, she posted her Shabbos table, set early. And I was like, whoa, this is so great. And still nobody knew she was my daughter. I'm just like, Shabbat Nafas. 6 years later, she's on board. So you do have to keep your mouth shut and your smile on. You can make certain rules because it's your home and you're a parent. And really just enjoy it and be in it. You cannot control. At the Detroit Fireside Chat, there was a woman that kept saying, but what if there's still a lot of chaos around you? And my sister kept looking at me and people were sort of like murmuring. And then someone said, just tell her. And I was like, tell me what? And someone said, she has quadruplet boys. Someone here?
Yeah.
What? What are the chances of that?
I know her. She just came to Shabbos.
Ida? Wow. Oh, yeah, so like that takes the cake. You get a free pass for basically everything. Wow.
No, but also people misinterpret sometimes chaos and lively.
Yes.
There's difference.
Yes.
There's difference between chaos and lively. So lively is life, you
Life.
know?
Oh,
And that
I
means
love
that there's life in the
Love
house. That doesn't mean it's chaos, you know?
Right, but what's your name?
Hobby.
Hobby. I think what you're saying is someone's making a mess in the kitchen, and that's like she doesn't like that chaos, and that's okay. So you could decide if you're going to make a rule about it. I do these 15-minute consults if anybody wants it, and one woman said, so my big dilemma is my son comes home from yeshiva and he makes the potato kugel. He doesn't clean up after himself, so I have to clean up, and that means I'm cleaning up the food processor on Friday afternoon. That's not like that doesn't go with my whole chatzos thing. And I said you have to make a decision. That's the only time you can make it. Maybe you'll peel the potatoes on Thursday and like make it a little easier. Maybe you'll, whatever it is, at some point you have to make a decision. Another person said her family plays games Thursday night at their only table, and it's beautiful family time. And if she sets the table, they really are not going to play the games anymore. So you have to make a decision of your priorities, what's more important. So you could take the tablecloth and the china and different things and stack them up in the corner so everyone sees this is waiting patiently for its moment. You know, so sometimes you can have things be the way you want them to be. God says that to me all the time. Okay, cute story. I rented a one-way car. I asked them for an SUV, hybrid, very conservative, gonna save on gas, a lot of driving, and I went to go pick it up, and the guy says, it's July 4th weekend, we have no SUVs. What do you mean? I ordered it, you can't. So he says, there's only one left on the lot. It's a Jeep Wrangler. Do you want it? I have to like jump to get in this thing. And I looked at it and okay. It's this big boxy car that gets a lot of attention. And it just struck me, I'm gonna get car magnets that say, what did you do to get ready for Shabbos today? And I found a place in Detroit that'll print the magnets the same day. There's a really nice Chaldean guy who loves Jews, and he printed the magnets for me, and I was so excited, and I laid them flat for an hour. And I go out to the car with my mother, Erev Shabbos, I'm so excited about my magnets. The car's made out of plastic. So, you know, mensch getroffen, or whatever, my Yiddish is not great. So Faygie plans. Right, and God laughs hysterically. So, anyway, I got little 3M strips and put them on the corner, and there's one hanging, like, you know, haphazardly. And I'm going to have to scrape like nobody's business before I return the car. But I was so stubborn, you know. So yeah, sometimes things don't look the way we want them to look, and you just laugh. So.
No, but what you said something, just because besides your Kavana parenting is a very big thing, what you said about making a choice and that decision, and that potato kugel could be part of his contribution, and it's so much more than the food processor, right? So you have to weigh that as, you know, whatever. But one concept though, and this is something really to be careful about, when you take something that's mutter and you make it usser, they will take something usser and make it mutter. So when a person is taking a chumrah on themselves, it's themselves. Like what you said, this is what she's doing, and you tell the kids and you hope for it to be, you know, whatever. But be very careful, because that could backfire, you know? So we should, but when you say it with love, like Rabbi Chalkovsky from Neve, he always used to say, like I would tell him, like, so how should I interact with this person or this or that? And he'd say two things: look pretty and be happy. That's how you inspire change. It's not a talk, it's not something you inspired, it's not whatever. When you have that presence, I'm so excited about Chatzos, whatever, that creates that also that impact on the child, but not taking away like whatever. So making those decisions
and also I think again I just want to reiterate that sitting down with whoever's in the home and saying this is something that I really want to do because XYZ, it could create buy-in. We had someone post on the chat that she is the cutest thing. She went to go pick up her daughter from school on Friday, and her daughter got in the car and said, Mommy, are we Chatzosers this week? And we were like, oh, that's so cute. And then she said, well, she's 16. I was like, wait, that's even sweeter. Because like they're at the age where like nothing mother does is cool. So the fact that she's excited about it, her mother's doing something right. Yes, we're Chatzosers. Malki, are we Chatzosers? People mention this book all the time.
no, but it's so, and
of
my daughter does a
alignment.
camp, and the theme is Tiny Tales, so every week is a different book. So this was the book that was out because it was this week. But
What is that?
It's called Is It Shabbos, yeah. Mishpacha magazine actually had a very funny comic strip of a mother who was very overwhelmed with the questions of Is It Shabbos yet? But I think it's a wonderful point. And this gave so much inspiration and so many tools, and I can't wait to join the chat. I can't wait to get the
Can you tell us
emails.
what the website is?
giftofchatzos.org. Yes. And we're supposed to start with baking the hostess. So we're just starting now. We are just starting our Chatzos journey, so we want to thank Connie Klein for hosting tonight and also for helping
here.
to
I have to
sponsor.
thank Ricky Covell for introducing us.
Oh my goodness, right. Rafik Oval
And
gets a
just
lot of
giving me
credit.
the opportunity because she just like, would you like to host? I'm like, sure.
She just makes things
And I didn't
happen.
do any research and this is amazing. So
Mm.
besides for hearing from Nechama all the time about Chatzos.
Mhm.
You're so
Yeah.
cute. No, but
Can I ask where you stopped?
I'm sorry.
I came late. Did you say where you stopped? Doing the chatzos?
I have
Why did you
Here.
stop doing, why did you
Chatzos.
stop Chatzos?
It wasn't-
Because that's not a
life
good selling
changes.
point, because we don't
No,
take
no.
returns. We have
No,
customer
no, there are
service, but we do
different,
not
there are
take
different
returns.
stages in life, and I think when I took it on, I had young kids, and it was really a great survival mode type of thing, and it was beautiful. But then I stopped working on Friday, and I actually enjoyed making everything on Friday. Like that was Fridays, Erev Shabbos in my house. I don't very rarely will I take a client on a Friday. Very, very rarely. A few times a year, and even after, I'm like, what did I just do? This is my time. This is Shabbos. Friday is Shabbos. But Hashem has been. I've been thinking about going back for the bracha, just in honor to bring
That's a great
more
reason.
honor to Shabbos. And then when she called me, I was like, oh gosh, Hashem is talking to me.
Wow.
And we're back to that.
So who knows? Who knows? Yes.
Right,
But
right. There's
it
two
wasn't a
things-
conscious thing, like I'm stopping chatzos. It was just life changed and different things changed. So
There are two halachos connected to Chatzos Shabbos. There's nothing halachic about it at the time, it's a halachic Chatzos, but there's nothing, you could do whatever you want after. So the Shulchan Aruch says a person should wake up early Friday morning to get ready for Shabbos, 3 a.m.
Hello.
Great, check,
I go to sleep at
very
3.
early. And the second thing is, the Shulchan Aruch says very clearly, no bracha comes on work done after Mincha Gedola that's not related to Shabbos. So Mincha Gedola is about a half hour from Chatzos. No bracha comes on work consistently. Like if you're every Friday, you're doing things in the afternoon that are not for Shabbos, no bracha comes on it. Caveat, if you work for someone else and you can't control your hours, you are supporting your family, you're doing the right thing. Don't tell your boss, sorry, I have to leave, Shulchan Aruch, and you're gonna get fired. That's not a thing. But if you work for yourself and you can control your own hours, like Nechama and other people, and by the way, it's becoming a movement. It's so beautiful. I have people reaching out to me all the time, LinkedIn, emails, whatever. I just decided I'm closing my business at Chatzos on Shabbos. Mr. Ben Heineman of BP Print Group was the first one that I knew of that did it. He decided after October 7th he wants to do something. He said any mitzvah initiative that he connected his business to brought him bracha. So he employs over 100 from women. And he now closes his office 12 on Friday in the winter, 1 o'clock on Friday in the summer, and everybody knows you want to come pick up your package, sure, but we're closed, nothing is happening. He took out a billboard and tried to inspire other people to do the same thing, to close their businesses early.
So, okay, so I see like the things we shouldn't do. I'm just wondering, and I think you did say this, but I would be so interested, like the different stages of like what it should look like from Chatzos till candlelight. Because even if I light early, like, we take in Shabbos early, I'm lighting early or whatever, but it's not always like I'm coming and I'm like meditating and, I would love to, but I'm just
Right.
saying like, so that would be a goal of mine to come and have like this meditation or something, but, so I'm just wondering if you could like paint a picture, let's say we're eating all our
Of
meals
what Friday
out.
afternoon looks
From
like.
like Chatzos, let's say we're eating our meals. I have it, the table set, whatever. But there's always everything to do. There's always things to do, like whatever.
You're
It's right.
supposed to go to the neighbor who lives behind you and help them.
Yeah, well, I mean, no, I yeah, like
Oh, is that you? So I've
I
done
mean,
that.
she's new, but I think I live on the street from her.
Right. I mean,
It's a couple
empty
streets.
nester, I can make Shabbos very quickly. So there are times where it's been so quiet and I've been like, come on. And I'll either invite my neighbor's kids to come over or say,
that's
can I
really
make
nice.
something for you? And then I start cooking and I'm like, wait, is this right? You know, so it's not how you have to kind of figure it out. So go back to that word kavana, an intention.
Yeah.
So think about what kinds of activities are you going to be doing on Friday afternoon that are aligned with this mission. And only you know what's on your could do, to do, want to do list.
And even if it's a line, but I'm not, like, I just wanna have that space before candlelight, I guess that would be it, that would be my goal, like, before candlelighting, get into that space, get into a meditative
Oh,
space, if that's my, if
right,
that's my
right.
goal, to feel like that kavana, to do whatever it takes to get there.
Right, and if you have inspirational thoughts in your head that you can use for your meditation, great. If not, listen to somebody, Rabbi Gross or Rabbi.
There's so many. I'm saying, like,
Rabbi
just on the
Weinberg.
topic of
Right, Rabbi
Shabbos, on
Weinberg
Torah
Jacobson.
anytime,
Mhm.
you could filter, maybe not the parsha, but just something on Shabbos. You know, you could filter that speaker, and they have Shabbos.
Right, and look for a short one, like maybe in the hour before candlelighting, you could listen to something that's a 10-minute inspirational, uplifting. We're actually, this is so interesting that you brought that up because we're going to be presenting content that's like an uplifting Shabbos thought, like a couple minutes. So I've been trying to turn off my phone an hour before Shabbos, so whatever, sometime Friday afternoon to just listen to someone impactful. Baruch Hashem, the first person I asked said yes. I'm so excited. Or it's an Aviva Finders. Of course, yay. So these people will share an uplifting thought about Shabbos. So that's a good thing to do, you know, and then maybe meditate on that.
So funny, I remember Azrael Jaffe, like, this is before Touring Time even had, like, their website. It was, like, brown and beige. She said, like, you say Tehillim, like, I don't know, this is, like, 16 years ago, like, for sure. Like, you know, you have the time to say Tehillim or you read something.
Okay,
Yeah.
you read us Hadoros because
Yes,
literally
I
what I've
know.
been telling people is the first question, like, what's the biggest misconception, is that at Chatzos we sit in our special tehil and we say Tehillim the rest of the afternoon, but that's really a thing. I mean, it's beautiful if you could do that.
I've been sending my girls, when we do get really early, they each go to, I have 3 little girls, but they send to someone who has kids younger than them, like busy mothers, they all love it.
So special.
12-year-old, the 10-year-old, even the 7-year-old goes to someone who has 3 little, 3-year-old too, and they go there to play for an hour with it, and it's like win-win, you know?
Right.
You go out there and, yeah, you
Wow,
can definitely find
that's
things,
it.
you wanna do something, you can find something,
Yes,
someone to visit,
right.
someone to, something.
Something to help, but you're also being helped. You're also winning. Yeah.
Or even just the fact that you just sent Hashem a hug and a kiss. Like, you just did something for Hashem, only for the honor of Hashem. Like, how so many times we do things, this is just like above and beyond. This is like l'ma'ala min hateva, even, we could say, right? And we're just doing it to connect to Hashem and to bring honor to Shabbos. I mean, just doing that, I don't even think you have to think deeper. You are just pat yourself on the back. And,
Can you tell me on a practical level, like, what you do every day? Like, what could you do? Like, I don't freeze
Every day of
food,
the
right?
week,
So what do you do on Mondays? You know, I don't know.
We have that on the
There's a-
website. How do I start? It has Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And it might work for you and it might not work for you. It's just ideas.
Okay,
You know, like for example, I mentioned Matzah Shabbos, I set up the candles.
right.
So that's something, every Matzah Shabbos pretty much I post on the WhatsApp chat, reminder to set up your candles or do something L'Kavod Shabbos Kodesh. And the
I already
beautiful,
set my alarm.
fantastic.
Wow, look at you.
And it'll become habit that you won't even need your phone anymore, but you're very smart to do these things, the alarms. When Shabbos is departing, you know, like we even love the Malka to hold on to Shabbos a little bit longer, but then if you're getting ready for the next Shabbos within minutes, you're creating this like continuum. Like there's never a moment in your home where there's no Hachana Shabbos happening. It's like, it's very, very beautiful.
In terms like food and like what, like you make chicken and then
gets-
you bake it on
It
Friday.
gets very
And
practical.
also I come home from work at like 4:30 on
Friday.
Fridays. And if candlelighting is at 4, then I come home at 4:45. Or,
Yeah.
you know.
So take a look and see if that helps you. The weekly emails also send out tips and sometimes like fast recipes, and the regular WhatsApp group, there were people that were starting to talk too much about recipes and I felt like it was taking us off course, so we actually started a subgroup which is called Food and Recipes, and sometimes I need to give people a little nudge, take it over there. But people ask questions like, you know, whatever, what's a fast this and what's a fast that, and so it gets very practical on the Food and Recipe chat. But just the basic outline, Sunday, make a menu, invite guests, maybe bake and freeze. Will you freeze baked goods?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Monday is a busy day, we're going back to work, we're going back to school, so that's when I say like maybe order something or just make your shopping list so that you're ready to go. Tuesday, Hashem said ketov twice. It was very, very good, so I say double up on sauces, dips, marinades, something that has a long shelf life. You're not gonna freeze it, but like dips, you know, things like that can last for a while. Wednesday, and this is my favorite, you play sous chef. You know what a sous chef is?
Yeah.
Someone who does all the grunt work for you. So you be your own sous chef and maybe take a kid or someone who's around. Peel carrots, peel celery, chop, you know, everything so that Thursday is basically everyone does a cooking marathon. When you take out those bags of prepped veggies, it goes so much faster. It's fantastic. Yeah. And even your chunk can be put together in a bag sitting in the fridge and you just put it into the crock pot on Friday when you come home from work. This is gonna be beautiful for you, I could see it. A crystal ball.
I'll be happy if I don't go into my 18 minutes. That's my goal.
Right, okay, fantastic, yeah,
You know, but
yeah.
Just the other week, there was a client that texted me, like it was after Chatzos, and she said, okay, I'm initiating the payment, and I was like, oh, it's after Chatzos, so I respond, but she's not Jewish, and then I felt like it would be like disrespectful, what am I gonna respond on Sunday, so I did respond, and I said, well, Hashem, it's already like she's taking care of the payment, so it's not a big deal. But I know, I'm like, there's no bracha that comes from it, but already we're at the point of payment, so like,
Right.
how could it not have a bracha, right?
This is those gray areas where
I
you're like,
kid
what?
you not, the payment did not go through. On Monday, I get an email from Square, payment did not go through. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to reach out to her. Now it's like this whole awkward conversation we had before Shabbos, and now after Shabbos, like, so,
Wow.
I was like, I can't believe it has Shabbos. Are you serious?
But that's such a gift that it was so clear
And then it went
what he
through
wanted
right
you
away.
to do.
But after she's like, oh, I'll send it to my husband. That's so weird that it didn't go through. I was like, Hashem, what should I do? It's like a non-Jew. Like, I don't want to be disrespectful. They're asking me a question. It's work related, but I was like, this is more like I don't want to make a chil Hashem, so I want to respond to her.
Right, I mean, for email, you can have an automatic reply. I don't work from, so instead of
That's
saying
kind of
sundown,
fun.
you would say midday. You were like, what the heck is that, you know?
I think you could do
You
that
can
on
have an
WhatsApp too.
Yeah, you might be able to.
Oh,
But listen,
oh, we have
Mr.
a business
Heineman-
WhatsApp. I switched the
Oh yeah,
regular.
business WhatsApp gives you more capabilities. Mr. Heineman said that he made this commitment, and also Chalmite, he made a commitment that they don't open on Chalmite, they don't work on Chalmite. And once he made an exception. I guess a family pressured him, they really wanted to get their invitations out, and he said, okay, fine, go into the office, take the key, and send out these invitations. And they all got lost in the mail, and they arrived after ones that were sent after Yom Tov.
At Rabbi Hirschfeld, I asked him also, somebody on my team needed like work. I said, do I work? Like, what do I do? For her, if you need, open it up, but like really you're not gonna have bracha from. And so I'm like, we don't work on Chalmite. But these are really hard things.
Yeah,
Saying,
yeah.
like they're really hard.
They're great areas, for sure, yes, yes. Yasher Koch to all of you for coming.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so
Yes.
much.
My pleasure.
Thank you,
This
thank
is so
you.
beautiful.
And if you have friends in Columbus, I'll be there tomorrow night.
Oh, wow.
Yes, yes, yes.
You know, one other thing is like what you were saying about, in response to her question, you know, on Sunday do this, on Monday do this. Hashem tells us we count the week, the Hebrew days is Yom
Yom
Rishon,
Rishon,
Yom
Shabbos,
Sheni,
Yom Sheni.
Yom Shabbos.
Right,
Like
right.
that's how we're supposed to be counting. When you start phrasing, instead, like if I was inviting you over, instead of saying come Friday night, and I'm like 80% okay, good on this, but sometimes I do say Friday night, but you're saying Leil Shabbos is also, or not Shabbos, not like, okay, Shabbos lunch, I think everybody kind of says, but Leil Shabbos instead of Friday night, it also changes you. It's different. It's not Friday night. Friday night people go to the movies. It's Leil Shabbos, you know, and
Oh, I
it
love
changes what it is.
We have a program going now that's going to run again for the Yom Noraim, but it's called CCI, the Chatzos Community Initiative, and that's something that opens it up for men, women, and children, and it means that a community is working on this together. So like for that, we have a chat that's just admin only posts, because anytime there's men and women, and you know, like we also want to keep it clean and just very focused. So the Chatzos Community Initiative is such a beautiful program. I think my favorite part, there's like commitment sheets for teens and for elementary school kids, but there's a little lanyard necklace for the preschoolers, you know, like a work badge. So it says, I'm a Shabbos helper, and when it's their time to get ready for Shabbos, they go to the coat hook and they get their little like official badge on and go whatever, set the table or cut toilet paper. This very, very sweet program.